Alright, so if you're coming over from the last video, you now have a nice clean inner barrel for your AEG, and the next accuracy component that you're going to work with is the hop-up bucking. And in this video we're going to be going over the different types of buckings, upgrade buckings, what they do, and how to clean your bucking. A lot of people don't seem to know how to properly clean their airsoft bucking, so I'm going to go over that and much more. Okay, so as you can see here, I have 3 buckings, and each one of those represents each type of hop-up bucking you're going to see. There are also several hop-up mods you can do, such as R-hop, flat hop, different nubs you can put in, but for this video I'm just going to be going over solely the buckings and nothing more. So if you've looked at buckings online or at all, you may have noticed that there are 2 types that are listed. There's the hard type and the soft type bucking. And here I have just a JG stock hop-up bucking, and it is the hard type. And you can just feel by holding it that it is made of a harder rubber, and it's going to be more durable. And hard buckings are usually made for higher FPS AEGs, such as a JG, which tends to shoot a little bit hotter than your other airsoft guns. So the downside to hard buckings is the fact that they tend to be less consistent with your shots and lead to less accuracy, but they are going to last longer whenever in a higher feet per second setup. It is not going to tear on you anytime soon. The second bucking I have here is a stock ICS bucking. This is a soft type bucking. And soft type buckings, as you can see, obviously, they're softer, and they're made for lower feet per second guns. This is because the soft material of a soft bucking is much more likely to tear under hard usage with a higher rated spring. Although I still use soft buckings in higher feet per second setups if I'm prepared to change them out occasionally and keep them well maintained. This is because soft buckings will give you a better consistency as far as accuracy goes, and it'll just get you better groupings with the soft bucking. So, low feet per second gun, soft bucking. Higher feet per second, you may want a harder bucking. And third here, I have an aftermarket bucking, and this is the SHS soft white bucking, and it is a pretty nice bucking. It has worked well for me. It seems a little bit softer than the stock ICS bucking, so it may be more fragile in higher feet per second setups, but it is very consistent. And with all aftermarket buckings, the difference between it and a stock bucking is better quality control usually, and a better coefficient of friction to where it engages the BB to give it backspin. So those are the 3 types of buckings, and let's move on to how to clean your airsoft. Okay, so after several thousand rounds of use and a couple games with the bucking in your gun, and especially if you just got a new gun and it is a China brand, it is a good idea to clean your bucking, because dirt inside the bucking and grease especially can lead to tears, like I said earlier, and just overall inconsistencies in your shooting. So I'm going to take this JG bucking, which has not been cleaned and has been stock up until now, and you're going to take some water and some Dawn dish detergent and mix it together. Make sure the water's fairly warm, and you're going to hold the bucking under the water and just work it back and forth just so that you can get all the dirt out from inside the bucking and you can get it nice and clean. Okay, so I want to do that to all 3 of these buckings, and after you're done, just set them off to the side to dry. Doing this, it's not necessarily to help the performance unless your bucking is very dirty. It's more or less just to help improve the life of your bucking in your gun. So shake that one off and give this one a quick run through. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to clean their bucking with silicone, like grease. This is a bad idea because the silicone actually makes the bucking inconsistent on how it engages the BB, and it leads to worse accuracy than you began with. Okay, so after you soak them in some soapy water, you're going to go ahead and dry them off, which I'm going to do here in a second, and I'll come back after I'm finished with that. Okay, so I've got all these buckings dried off, and you can actually physically feel a difference in the feel of how the buckings are. I don't know if that just has to do with how dirty mine were because they had not been cleaned, but it feels quite nice, and that should help your accuracy if your bucking was very dirty, but it should definitely save the life of a bucking if you were to get a jam or tear your bucking. So now that your bucking is actually clean, we're going to go over how to properly reinstall it into your hop-up unit. So I've got my barrel and the bucking I want to put in the hop-up of this gun, and what you're going to do is just slide this aftermarket bucking over top of the barrel like so, with the little notch of the bucking where the notch in the barrel is. And after you do that, you're going to apply some silicone grease. I call it grease, but it's more like an oil. It's a lubricant. No petroleum distillates. Make sure of that, because those distillates will eat your rubber on the hop-up, and that kind of defeats the purpose of cleaning your hop-up whenever you're just going to break it. Anyways, so I will get this hop-up on my barrel. Okay, so I've got my hop-up bucking on the barrel, and I'm going to take my silicone lubricant and just apply a little bit on my paper towel, and we're going to take it, needs a little bit more, okay, and we're just going to take it and rub it along the bucking, like so. You want a decent layer on there, and the whole point of this is not for the performance of the bucking, but it is to help you slide the bucking in the hop-up unit. Oftentimes, if it is not lubricated, you can get the hop-up in and the barrel in, but once it's in there, whenever you try to pull it out, it will get stuck, and you risk tearing your bucking that way. So it's always nice just to put the silicone on there, and it makes life a lot easier. So whenever doing this, be sure not to get silicone inside the bucking, because like I said, that will screw up your coefficient of friction and you'll get bad shots out of your rifle. So, after you're done that, you're just going to slide the barrel into the hop-up chamber, and you will be ready. By now you have a cleaned barrel, cleaned hop-up bucking, well maintained, and ready to put back into your gun. So, these modifications should help your accuracy depending on how dirty your barrel was. And until next time, please subscribe, like, and comment. And until then, signing off.